2, 1.
Welcome to Made for More Living.
One small step for man.
With Johnny Jennings.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
The fastest and most exciting hour of news, events, and real estate in Northern California.
And this is a fact that was proved.
Online at madeformorerealty.com.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Get ready. Here we go.
I was made for more.
On the show today, we are going to figure out how to get the 49ers winning another Super Bowl again. And to help us with that is the mayor of Rocklin, Jill Gayaldo.
So close.
So close?
So close.
So close, but so far away.
How do you really say it? How do you say it?
Gayaldo.
Gayaldo.
I even
Come
tried
on.
spelling it out phonetically, and I did it wrong.
What does-
Gayaldo.
What does that mean, Gayaldo? What's the
Darn
meaning behind
good
it?
question. My husband's family came from Spain right to Rocklin and a little over 100 years ago, and I think they probably Americanized it somehow. But yeah, that's what I get. It couldn't be Smith or Jones. I had to go a little more challenging.
Gayaldo. Before we get into the 49ers, I'm really curious. Your grandkids are fifth generation, right?
Yes.
How does that happen? Like, because so when Valor and I were traveling all 50 states, we were trying to figure out where we wanted to live. We wanted a place, that had a number of different things, but one of them was we wanted a place where our kids could flourish and thrive and not have to move across the country and move somewhere else. So what's the secret to having your entire family stay put in one
Because
place?
usually as kids grow up, they want to move away from where they grew up. They
Yeah.
want to explore the world, go to college someplace else. So how have you kept them in Rocklin?
It helps when you've been named as a city that's one of the best places to live by Money Magazine and one of the safest places to live from Safewise Magazine. That was a few years ago, my first term serving as mayor. And so I had people come up and say, why do you think that happened? And how did that happen? And I tell them, clearly it must be the mayor.
Obviously. What else could it be?
They'd blame me if we weren't, right?
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, for our family, a lot of it was pure luck. My husband's grandparents, both on his mom and dad's side, came from Spain, from Granada. His dad's family landed in Hawaii to work the fields. Hawaii was offering property and money if you worked for a couple of years. And so he didn't get to Rocklin until he was 2 years old. But my mother-in-law was born in her house on Pacific Street. And when she got married, she moved across the street. And 94 years later, she passed away in her house on Pacific
Wow.
Street. Yeah. That's why I do this fun job.
So maybe you should change your slogan of Rocklin. Hawaiians call it home,
Absolutely. In fact,
If you can't live in Hawaii, live in Rocklin.
That's the next best thing.
Absolutely. I think for the Spaniards, the climate was really similar to where they've been, and they were in agriculture, and so they came over here and started growing things. You see the mandarin farms in the area outside of us now, but that was a lot of what they were doing, is coming over here to grow.
Yeah, a lot of Spanish, a lot of Portuguese too in the valley.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm really lucky. Our kids, you're right. They came here. They had the number one reason people moved to Rocklin truly is the schools.
Yep.
We have great schools, and they're just fabulous. And our kids did the same thing, and then they went away to college, and which is why I'm a fighting Irish fan. My son went to Notre Dame, and I was really worried would I get him back, and he said, the college is fabulous. The Midwest is a terrible place. So
Yeah, I am not a fan. Definitely not a fan. Go ahead, Matt.
I wanted to dive into what you said about the public schools because California is not known for great public schools, but Rocklin has figured it out. What would you say is the secret ingredient to Rocklin's ability to provide quality public education to its residents?
People, one of the things I'll hear all the time is, people are moving here from the Bay Area.
Yep.
And I remind people they are, and they're great families, and they want what we have, and they come and contribute. I think it started truly with the residents. They were very committed and volunteered and were really active in the schools and started building success. The thing that you'll see in Rocklin, quite honestly, it's not like, this is the great school and this one is not so great. They're all really, really good.
Yep.
We have great choices, and I think it's the residents we have that are very supportive of our school system.
And very involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It attracts great people.
So speaking of the school system and how residents are involved, another realtor named Cindy Silva. Do you know Cindy?
I do.
So she was talking to me recently about how she helped get, is it like a dual immersion program or something? You know what I'm talking about? Where like the
Yes.
kids are, can you speak to that a little bit? Like, because I personally, that is a huge goal for my family, is to learn Spanish. I spend about an hour a day practicing it, and then my boys are 4 and 1 and 1 on the way. And so we're trying to figure out how can, but nobody in our family speaks Spanish. Talk to us a little about this program that they have in Rocklin.
Sure. And I'm embarrassed to say that I don't speak Spanish, and my husband says he just knows some of the bad words.
There's some bad ones.
When they got here, they really tried to assimilate, and they lost it. I mean, his grandmother only spoke Spanish. And, so it is disappointing that we lost that. All our kids speak Spanish from learning in school, but there's a program in it, especially the elementary school in Whitney Oaks is a dual immersion school.
Dual immersion, that's the word.
Yeah. And so it's very cool. They really are encouraging kids. It's a world economy, and we need to be aware of that and be inclusive, and that's just a great opportunity because kids are sponges. At that age, they learn so well. And then we also have in our high schools, we have we're blessed in Rocklin. We've got Sierra College and William Jessup. So after Davis, Rocklin has been recognized as the highest educated workforce in that 6-county region. And a lot of that is we need to take advantage of those high school and college processes and opportunities. So we have kids now, you can go to take a high school class, and it's taught by a teacher that has a master's degree and is connected through Sierra College, and you get college credits through your high school.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's everything from core classes and advanced placement to if you're my husband retired, but he was the principal at Del Oro High School in Loomis, because I have to remind people, we didn't have high schools for a long time. When he grew up, every kid in Rocklin got on the bus right in front of the laundromat on Pacific Street, and they rode the bus to Roseville. And when Roseville was full, then they went to Oakmont. And when Oakmont was full, then they went to Del Oro. But DO has a program, and I know, for welding. So you can go through there and become a certified welder from Sierra College
that is
out
crazy.
of high school.
That's so cool.
Vocational is back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. Fun fact, I don't know if you knew this about me, but I know how to weld. That was one of my first jobs. So I went to college, and then outside of college, I started immediately welding.
Nice.
Yeah. So did not use the history degree, but used the welding. It's just so important now because we've lost that for a while. A lot of it is getting teachers. You have to be credentialed in a subject matter, and the colleges weren't really graduating teachers with an industrial arts degree. That had kind of gone away.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And if we don't bring this back, and especially in high school, kids don't get a chance to work with wood.
Right.
How do you become a carpenter and these skills that are great jobs if you don't get the opportunity? So
And that's the
happy
time-
to see it back.
Me too. And that's the time to experiment, right? Like just test it out, see if
Absolutely.
you like it, learn what you like, learn a little bit of what you don't. Before we go to break, though, how can we get the 49ers to win the Super Bowl?
Oh,
You're going to address all their injury issues? Is that what it is?
You know
Do you have
what?
some kind of
You
trick
know
to keep them
what?
healthy?
Yeah,
Good
come
Lord.
to Rocklin for summer camp. We made you tougher. We didn't have injury issues when it was Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, and they were wandering around Sierra College campus. 17 years the Niners were in Rocklin at Sierra College for their summer camp, and in that time, every single Super Bowl they won was when they were in Rocklin.
Yeah.
And they haven't won one since. We're the missing link. Get back here. They built that place in Santa Clara. They've got, 75-degree days.
Right.
And they need to be back here. And really, it was a tight community. And they
Yeah.
were all together. They weren't distracted by other things. And it was fantastic. So I literally sent a letter to the leadership of the Niners last week because we're all fans. We want to win a Super Bowl. We're the missing link. Come back. Let's do a family day and get you guys back into the old school. We'll make it happen.
No, because I remember when I grew up in Yuba City, and I'd hear, the 49ers are in town. They're in Rocklin. And I never heard of Rocklin before until I moved to the Sacramento area. And then I rediscovered, Rocklin's, hey, that's where the 49ers practice at Sierra College. And I just thought that was just so cool.
It was so fun. I mean, literally, I remember taking my son to same thing. We'd sit there and watch practice. And he was playing with a little boy one day, and they were the same age. And this kid was huge. And I thought my kid was a midget, but it turns out that was Bubba Paris's son. And so my son's probably normal, and he's not.
Yeah, he's
huge.
Giant, yeah.
It's giant. It was so fun, and there was a driving range on Granite Drive. When I remember one night, it was me and my son and Jerry Rice, the only people there, and he was learning. He's much better now. I see.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Well, after
but it was
golfing
just
with you,
fun.
right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
we didn't say a word. You don't want to bug him, and he was pretty terrible, but he's pretty darn good now. It's just it was just so darn fun, and I truly think it kept them so much more focused. Brandon Ayuk, he's been out forever. He's a Sierra College football player. Yeah,
that's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And we've had, like I say, we have a lot of local connections. So I think it would do them all good to get back and let's get back to basics.
Right.
Hey, it doesn't cost a lot of money. Just come on out here. You don't need to hire any expensive coaches or any players.
Yeah, and
So-
it's much
so-
better facility now too.
Were you saying that it was an equipment manager or someone who lived in the area that recommended Sierra College, or how did they come to practice in Rocklin?
It does seem crazy, doesn't it? But yes, that's what I heard. His equipment manager lived in this area, and he said, hey, and at the time, here's this out-of-the-way place that we can keep focused and get you here, and nobody will bug you, and everybody will be a cohesive group. I think that was a big part of it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we got him here.
So fun. Well, when we come back, we're going to be talking about new things that are coming to Rocklin and kind of how the mayor plans and how you kind of organize all that to make sure it's best for the city.
So you hear people say life is short and sometimes you got to just take that leap of faith and jump in. And I agree with that to some extent, but oftentimes you can still make a good decision without taking that leap of faith. Absolutely. Jump in. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. When it comes to working with Johnny Jennings and his great team at Made for More Realty, absolutely jump in. Life is short, but you can rely and depend on evidence like, for example, there are over 1,000 five-star Google reviews, people that have worked with them, that have loved their experience, that have sold their home for more money than they thought and in a shorter amount of time, or the fact that they were voted #1 team in Roseville for 3 straight years in a row. Just lots of evidence that the team at Made for More with Johnny Jennings are going to be able to work with you, hold your hand every step of the way, and you're going to get great results. In fact, they've got this great program where you don't have to worry about open houses or getting your house organized and staging or any of those costly home repairs that you just don't have the time or money for. They're going to give you at least 3 guaranteed cash offers on your home in as-is condition. So whether you're thinking about moving out of state or you're thinking about selling and moving to a different part of the Sacramento area, or you want to take advantage of the equity that you've built up in your home, whatever your reason is, absolutely, life is short. Jump in, let's do it. But base your decision not just on faith, but also on the evidence that has been proven over and over again about the quality of work and the expertise of Johnny Jennings and Made for More Realty. If you want to find out more, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So we're back with Jill Gayaldo. Did I get it?
You got it.
All right, with Jill Gayaldo. And we were talking off the air really about something super important, this local gem called Lori's Little Shack behind the railroad track. And we're actually going to be doing our Christmas party there. So the Made for More Christmas party will be there. It'll be an ugly Christmas party sweater type of a thing and filled with karaoke. But we love that spot. The tacos are delicious.
And the beans.
And the beans.
Oh, the beans are amazing.
Is this your restaurant?
No.
No.
Okay.
Have you
it's
ever
just
been? I don't think it's your
Lori's Shack behind the railroad track?
Lori's Little Shack.
Little Shack.
And is this a taco stand or what is this?
It's a
an
bar.
Old school bar.
Oh,
And I'm
okay.
talking old school. Karaoke.
So behind the railroad track in Loomis, Rocklin?
Rocklin, right on Pacific Street and Myers, right on the corner. And like I say, literally.
So if you
it's
blink, you'll
across
miss
the,
it.
Yeah, it's across the street from the house my husband grew up in.
Oh, wow.
So that but it's an experience, and it's been. I say, and it's seriously, you wouldn't expect it, but the food's fabulous, and it's just that old school. You kind of walk in and people look at you like, "Are you from around here?"
Who are you?
You know?
Yeah.
You're not one of our regulars.
Exactly.
And it's just the best. And they have, these are serious karaoke singers. I noticed when I went in there.
Oh,
These
karaoke,
are like
sure.
professional karaoke people. or
Yeah, they
something.
don't mess around. We invited a friend, and she's really good. And she goes around to different karaoke hot spots, and so we're like,
She's a professional professional karaokeer.
Yeah.
I never knew there was such a thing.
Well,
Bringing in-
semi-professional. She does it. She spends a lot of time doing it, but she doesn't make any money.
That's
you know?
made for more spending the big bucks for their Christmas party. Bringing in a professional for karaoke.
Bringing in Christy. Yeah.
I think that's what scares people from doing karaoke, because you're like, oh man, I thought we were supposed to be terrible, and
Right.
Yeah.
these guys have done this before.
We just brought her in to help, church up the group a little bit, because we're gonna be horrible.
You got to
at karaoke.
practice. You got to have your song, right? You got to know one or two go-tos that you just know you're going to be able to belt it out.
I asked Valerie. I was like, Val, what song should I do? Like, should I even do it? And she's like, yes. And I know the song. And she told me.
Wow.
We were driving to church. We haven't laughed that hard in a long.
All right, let's hear it. What's the song? Macho Man by the Village People?
I don't even remember, but it was some
on.
Miley Cyrus song. It was some Miley Cyrus.
Oh my
And
God.
she
Like
was-
you're going to do Wrecking Ball? Just
No, look at you go.
Come on, I
Look
can
at
see
you
it
go.
right now.
No, I'm having a. So when Valerie met me, I was working at the bookstore in Bakersfield, the university bookstore at Cal State Bakersfield, and so back in the olden days, everybody had to have books, and you could only buy them from the university.
Remember those days when people had to have a book?
Had to have
That's
books,
right.
yeah. And so all the students had to come through and buy the books, and I was ringing out every student, and so that's how I met Valerie. And
Oh, I thought you were going to say that's how I met Miley Cyrus.
No.
she in the book. And
that's the first time I met Valerie, and I was stuck in that bookstore all the time. And there was a specific Miley Cyrus song that was really popular.
what
at the
year
time.
was this?
Party in the USA.
That's
Yes.
the one.
Okay.
That's
all
the
right.
one.
I'm thinking, what's a good karaoke?
I don't know.
2010.
about that one.
It would not stop playing, and so Valerie would just give me a hard time about it.
Oh,
And so
wow.
to this day, when she hears that song,
You know,
she-
there is a
you know.
Monkeys song called Valerie. Maybe you should practice that.
Yes.
Shock the heck out of her when you get
Yes.
There's a Monkeys, and then
Do you know who the Monkeys are?
my mom loves the
Yeah.
Monkeys.
Hey, we're the Monkeys.
And then Amy Winehouse, I think, did it too. I think
Oh,
Amy
really?
Winehouse redid it. Yeah, Valerie.
Wow.
So, anyways,
I don't know
enough
if I
about
attend your
Valerie
Christmas
and.
party if you're gonna sing "Party in the
Come on, come on,
with your
Matt.
cowboy
We may
boots.
crash this party just
Yeah,
to
it'll
see
be
it.
fun. It'll be
just
fun.
to see it.
But back to the mayor of Rocklin, the esteemed mayor of Rocklin, Jill. What's happening in Rocklin? What can we expect? What's developing? Any fun, exciting things?
You know what? There are a lot of really exciting things. I got to tell you, and talking about Lori's Little Shack just reminded me. So we have an amphitheater right downtown, Corey Park Amphitheater.
Yep.
We have the adventure park where you can zip line and ropes course, which is
Yeah.
really cool. And right next to it, we have an outdoor amphitheater, and it is getting known big time because I'm a music fiend. That's what I love music, and I love live music and all kinds. And this is my favorite place. Honest to goodness. You're not zip tied together in chairs. You bring a low lawn chair.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a bad view. You can get up and socialize and get food trucks, and it's just so fun. But the bands that are coming found Lori's Little Shack, and I keep hearing that in fact, Three Dog Night was here this summer, and they all showed up at Lori's Little Shack and bought Lori's Little Shack T-shirts, and so
That's
I saw them
awesome.
wandering around. And that's one of the funnest things, honestly. Of course, for me, I get to be the goofy mayor that introduces the bands, so I wear something as much fun and ridiculous and shames my husband as I can find. If it lights up, I've got it, and it's just so fun. So we have, 70s, we start out with Y&T or Three Dog Night. 80s, we had English Beat. We had 90s, we had Wallflowers. I had Bob Dylan's son in Rocklin.
I remember
and it
that. That was last year, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this last summer, Gin Blossoms. So we had a lot of country. We had a guy I did not know and was probably one of the best, Oliver Anthony, who
Oh,
got
gosh,
his
really?
start on radio or online, I think.
Instagram, I think I saw him on
That's
Instagram.
it, yeah. And I think he went on Joe Rogan or something and blew
Yeah.
up. Sold out, which max we can have is 2,000. He was fabulous. Fabulous. Very interesting character.
Yeah, big red beard. Yeah.
Yes, barefoot, and he looked like he wandered in off the tracks when he came in. But he was so nice, and when he got done, I had a little panic moment because he jumped off the stage into the crowd. He stayed for an hour and took a picture with anybody that wanted to
cool.
take a picture. It was very
That's
cool.
really cool.
But those concerts are phenomenal, and I can't wait to see. We do a little about 20 a year, and it brings people in. And I try to explain to people, the city's not making money off of it, but they're coming in supporting our businesses. They're going to dinner at the Shack or at Rubino's or someplace downtown. They fill their car up with gas. They spend the night because we track where they're coming from. And it's just a great shot in the arm for downtown. And it's just fun.
And I've taken my kids to just even the movies in the park, where they show a movie, Moana or whatever, and they've got the princesses out. Kids are playing on the train. And again, you got the kettle corn and the food truck. So it's just a good way to bring families together. It builds community, and I think that's so critically important in our society right now, where everyone's isolated and wants to virtual reality or virtually meet and everything. To have those opportunities to come together, because that's how our country was really built, with small town community feel like that. Absolutely. And so when you can somehow maintain that and continue to feed into that and create opportunities, that's so critically important to where our society is going.
I really like the Christmas tree lighting.
Oh, good.
That's what we did last year with the boys. Like
Good.
We have little boys, and sometimes it's hard on the parents and grandparents to hang around and do all that. But the older kids absolutely loved it. Like Jack loved it. There were coloring stations. There's food. I mean, it's
so
really
fun. I did the s'mores pit there, and that's actually something. A bunch of years ago, we always had this Jubilee, which was my favorite thing in Rocklin. I always said if you wanted to break into a house, do it on the night of the Jubilee because everyone was there. We have the best fireworks. By the way, the pyrotechnic company that's been doing them and does the Olympics and all these shows, they're based in
Celebrate
Rocklin.
America, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
They're from Rocklin.
Really?
So we get, I'm not
they
going
are
to say, we get a
state-of-the-art.
little extra something in there. So they're phenomenal. But I think, in fact, it was one of my motivations in running, and I think it was 2008, the downturn in the economy, they said they were postponing it, but it never came back. And I was crushed to lose the Jubilee. And so Gene Johnson, a group of us from Kiwanis started, we wanted something free for families. So we said, let's do this Christmas tree lighting. And literally, I think it was like 5 of us setting this up. And Gene, he's closer to 90 than 80, and he's up there hanging lights on the church because we did it on Front Street then, and we didn't know if we'd get anybody or not, and it blew up, and so it's gotten so big we moved it to Quarry Park now, but it's just a blast. And even just, you mentioned the movie in the park, just probably last month we did Wicked, and there were.
Oh, I can imagine.
I can't believe how many people were there. And they did the coolest thing. The vendors, they had little vendor booths, only kids. So it was kids making bracelets or candles or whatever. And so only kids could sell stuff there. And it was really cool. But it felt like a community.
Only kid vendors?
Yeah, only kid vendors.
That's so fun.
It was really fun. It was really fun. The only problem is going table to table, like, who you're not going to buy from.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
The kids are cleaning up.
Well, you make big bucks being a mayor, right?
That's right. Hey,
Yeah.
I
think that's something people don't understand, especially a small town, because a lot of people still consider Rocklin somewhat of a small town.
Yeah.
Being a mayor, it's not a regular salary like someone in the city of Sacramento.
Yeah, I think that's something people don't realize. We all have jobs because we get, in Rocklin, we get a stipend, $623 a month is our stipend. No benefits or retirement or anything like that. It's just a stipend.
So it's basically a volunteer job.
Yeah, it's I like to feel like it's my community service. And same with Roseville. They are one that honestly, they're so big. I feel like they really could be a full-time council,
Sure,
but I think the same thing. They get about $600 a month for what they do.
So why do you do it? Because I
love this city, and I, like I said, it's been home to our family for 5 generations. I have great people on council with me. They're really good. We're very different, but we work well together. We're very professional. We don't. But I wanted somebody to keep that older connection, to kind of remember where we were.
Yeah.
I know we're going to grow and people have property and they get to build on it. But I wanted to make sure to keep that connection, and I think that was really important to me. Here we are. And believe it or not, my late father-in-law, the one that was born in Hawaii and got to Rocklin when he was 2, and he made it all the way through the 6th grade. Hank, they called him Hank, but Andreas Gayaldo, he also served as the mayor of Rocklin and on council.
Oh, wow.
Almost
That's
20
awesome.
years,
That's
starting
so
in
cool.
the late 1948, I think.
Wow.
So my husband tells me, just don't screw this up.
Yeah.
Right.
He sets you up for success. Just don't mess it up.
Exactly. So it's just, that's kind of special.
Do your
for
kids
us.
want to follow in your footsteps, you think?
No, they think I'm crazy.
Well, give it time. Give it time.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
What about so you talked about how Rocklin has exploded over the years, and when you spoke at our team meeting a couple months ago, I never once considered the growth stopping. But at some point, this Rocklin is going to be built out, right?
Absolutely.
So what is
we're
that?
Very close.
So where are we at right now? What does build out look like? How are we handling that?
That's the biggest challenge that we're looking at. We're in a really good place. Rocklin, I know most people wouldn't know or pay attention. We got a AAA Fitch rating. It's the highest you can have. We are dialed with our budget. We're very conservative in our dollars and really cautious because you can't live on growth because we're going to stop. We're almost 75,000 people. We'll probably be about 85,000, and there's no more space. So we have to keep those services in place. So how do we do that? And that's a conversation we're having to make sure that we're set up. We pay for all. You hear a lot of times about retirement legacy costs and how that really scary. We pay as we go. We're covered. So we're dialed, but we also know costs go up every single year, and so we need to be really cautious to make sure. What I've learned doing this job is business is what pays the bills, quite honestly. So making sure that we've got great businesses and that they continue to support what we have and bring in what we don't have, that's really, really crucial for us. During COVID, we were very fortunate. Granite Drive saved us. In fact, we have all the, I keep saying I don't have any normal cars, but if you need an Audi or a Porsche or a Mercedes or
Tesla, Lucid,
one that we just have coming that just got announced. If you're buying an electric car, you need to come to Rocklin. But Rivian is joining us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we'll have the 3 big electric manufacturers. And then also Genesis, which is the high-end Hyundai dealer. They're here. They're just starting now with us as well. So those... we don't have the giant Bosch, but I've got, Bass Pro. I'm sure nothing says Rocklin like Bass Pro.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
But they saved us during COVID. They really did.
Oh, yeah.
It was there.
Did they say open?
They did, because the understanding is the stuff that was essential. I think everybody that started selling garden products or building products, they got to
smart.
stay open.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. My son, Levi, he's in Cub Scouts, and they go to Bass Pro Shop every year. They set up almost every weekend, and it's incredible how much support they see from the residents of Rocklin. It's incredible. Almost every other person comes out. Absolutely. Yep. Don't even ask how much it costs. They're like,
Is
yep.
he selling like popcorn or what?
Yeah, he's selling popcorn.
Okay.
Nice.
And
nice.
it's incredible the support of the Rocklin community for Cub Scouts. They set up there at the exit, and it's just the nicest, greatest people. So many different Eagle Scouts or former Boy Scouts and just the families. And so we know Bass Pro Shop, that's the number one place to be if you want to sell popcorn.
If you want to move some products,
absolutely.
go to Bass Pro.
Because they're just supportive of stuff like that,
I get to go talk to the Webelos tomorrow night.
Oh, really?
And it was
My son's a Weebelo.
Is
You
he?
know what Weebelo means?
Well, I have brothers.
Oh, okay.
And I like to think that I earned half of their merit badges because I was the one sitting out there with them to get them done. So I love it. I'm very excited.
Oh, I'm all about it. My son was one of the top sellers, and I'm with him. I'm like side by side. I want to sell the most, and I tell him, go after that guy, and it's just fun. It's great to have that kind of community support, though. It's so cool. So Webelos means we be loyal scouts.
Loyal scouts. That's
My son
right.
just did not like that. He's like, come on, it's got to be something cooler than that.
It kind of
I know,
sounds
'cause
Native
there's
American. Yeah.
Yeah, we be loyal scouts.
It was funny because last year I went to speak to a scouting group, and I'm standing there, and I think it was interesting. As the only woman on council, for some reason that's been that way for a long time. But I'm standing there waiting to speak, and the scout leader was talking to the kids and saying, "We're going to have the mayor," and the little boy said, "When's he going to get here?"
Oh.
And I had a flashback to this pin. So I have to tell you I am wearing a chamber pot pin, and this was my mother-in-law's pin. She had the restaurant where Mezcalito is. That was hers for 30 years. She was a very successful restaurateur, worked her tail off. And she belonged to every service group known to mankind, but she couldn't belong to the Chamber of Commerce because it was a men's only group. And this is all the way up to like 1970. And so she started a group with some other ladies that is the service organization to the chamber, and they called themselves the Chambermaids.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
I keep my chamber pot pin to keep me grounded sometimes, and I think she'd be so proud to see what I'm doing
That's
now.
so
Absolutely,
cool.
she would.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
It is.
But I did get a kick when that little guy said that to me, and I gave him that. Yes, she is.
Yes.
So as we're wrapping up, what are some things that people who are maybe living in Rocklin, what can they look forward to? What changes do they see coming? Because sometimes change can be a little bit scary.
It definitely can be scary. I think, and a lot of folks, when they get here, I always recommend, please, if you're buying a home and there's an empty lot behind you, please check to see what it's zoned for, because it's probably not going to stay empty. So be really cautious. Knowing the pressure from the state to build, especially our workforce housing, is our biggest challenge that we have coming. But I also hopefully they see the balance. In our city of 20 square miles, we now have 37 parks, 3 more on the books to come. Very excited that we were able to purchase the old abandoned golf course, dead center in town. So now I have 184 acres there.
Wow. What are you going to do with that?
We got 5 miles of walking trails in there already. And then this year, we just got the drawings completed and the bids are going out. We're putting 16 pickleball courts in the old Sunset Whitney.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Man,
Have you picked up pickleball yet, Joni?
Definitely have not.
Oh, come
Me
on,
neither,
you got
but
to.
holy moly, we're the only ones, I
Yeah.
think, because people are pumped.
Oh, you put that
for
thing in, it's
pickleball.
going to be huge. Yeah.
And 16, then they can do tournaments, is what they're telling us. So we've got that.
Rockland's going to have their
coming
own
in.
professional pickleball team.
That's right. That's right. We're also putting in a Veterans Memorial Park in that park. We
nice.
have a small area by the one by City Hall, but it's just not in a quiet enough contemplative area, I think. So we're excited to have that there. And then probably the biggest news in the last 6 months, Clover Valley has been a challenge forever. A lot of people don't know it's there. If you drive down Park Drive, there's a Boulder Ridge Park that is the only park we have to go lock the gates at night because it's a little too attractive, because it's stunning. You wouldn't even realize it, but you walk up there, you can see over the whole valley. 17 years ago, they had permits to build in there, and it went through a court system, I think 11 years ago, and it was upheld. But we always felt strongly, this is special piece of property. It truly is. And I'm so pleased. We partnered with the Placer County Office of Education, with Jessup, with the Placer Land Trust, with the City of Lincoln, and we've purchased 404 acres, the entire valley floor and slopes, and we're putting a conservation easement over that. So it will stay that way. We're going to put an outdoor education center in there so your kids can just come close by and go down and see. There's a lot of, obviously Indian grinding rocks, and it's just a beautiful piece of property. So we're building, but we're going to balance with these acreages where we can.
I love that. Thank you so much for doing all that you do for Rocklin, because I've just seen you a couple of times, and you are always working, always going, and always a joy to be around. So thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you so much. I'm blessed. We live in a great city, and my job is to make sure I keep it that way.
Yep. Well, you're doing a great job. Keep it up, Jill.
Hey, Rocklin rocks.
There you go.
I don't know how many times I've heard it from different homeowners who tell me, yes, we are interested in selling our home, putting it on the market, but we just don't have the time, and we certainly don't have the money to do all those costly repairs. There's that issue in the bathroom. The kitchen cabinets really need to be redone. We've got that issue in the backyard, and I think there's some kind of deal going on with our roof. Oh, yeah, and the garage door is just not opening and functioning like it's supposed to. So they keep putting off selling their home year after year. They just don't have the time or the money to get it ready. And so that's when I tell them about my good friend Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. He walks you through every step of the process, and he's got an easy program that makes things simple, and you can get 3 cash offers for your home in as-is condition. So what does that mean? That means you don't have to do all those costly home repairs that you don't have the money or time for. It means you don't have to do any open houses, right? People coming in and out of your home. You don't have to do staging or organizing. It's just bam, 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. And Johnny Jennings, like we've said many times, is someone you can trust. He's honest, he has integrity, and you're going to just love your experience like so many others have told us on Google. They've got over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. So for more info, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
50-year mortgages. Oh, man. People have been talking about that now for the last week or so.
Well, I mean, I get it. To me, at first glance, it doesn't seem like a terrible idea. We've got an affordability problem, right?
Yep.
Interest rates are too high.
Sure.
And so first-time home buyers especially, they're struggling to move into a home, to purchase a home, which is the American dream, right? And so the Trump administration, they care about the direction that the economy's going and how it's going to affect the midterms. And they want to see the economy and the real estate market affect so many different sectors.
It does.
So why not consider a 50-year mortgage to stretch out those payments and
what's crazy
and
about
lower
the housing,
monthly?
What's crazy about the housing industry, I'd have to recheck the numbers, but as of a couple of years ago, every time a house sells, at least in California, and this is the average, right? So if you're selling a house in, middle of nowhere, the economic impact will be less. But on average, every time a house sells, there's about $173,000 of economic impact that takes place between the lenders, the realtors, title, escrow, inspections, contractors. So it is a big driver of the economy. And so
Trump gets it. He's been in real estate for his whole life, so he understands it.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to figure out something. And so at first glance, I don't think it's a terrible idea. I mean, until you start to dive into the weeds and you realize, okay, for folks getting into this 50-year contract, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you're just really eager to get into a home, right? And this is where you're going to live for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but that's not really where we're headed.
No, and you're paying I think they said for the first 10 years, you're paying nothing but interest.
Yeah.
And so you're really just renting for the first 10 years. And you're paying so much in interest, so much more in interest.
Yeah, and you're really only saving a couple $100 a month on average.
Right.
So the savings doesn't really seem to outweigh the cost.
It's an idea to noodle on, but I think economists are starting to dive into it and realize, okay, it's not the best solution to stimulate the real estate market.
What's really sad too is that so much of,
I mean, he tried to lower the rates. That's just not going as fast as Trump would like.
Well, even lowering the rates isn't having a big impact.
Correct. So
there's more going on there. But what's really sad to me, at least about people in general, when they think about buying a home or having a family or doing life, at least in the United States, is a lot of it hinges on the house. And this is coming from a guy who buys and sells houses, right? I just wish there would be less shame around a more action on living life. There's a lot of people that hit pause on their life so they can save up and buy a house. There's a lot of people who don't put off having kids, put off getting married until they can go and buy a house.
Sure.
And it's like, man, you only have so many days. Tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
The house is not that important. Like in your financial plan, yeah, sure, it may play a role, but what's more important, getting married or having a house, having children?
Right.
Because
you're never going to have the perfect scenario. It's going to be, it's not a big enough house. It's not the right house for, it's not the best location that I want to raise a family.
And this is something Valerie and I, struggled with because we were married almost 10 years before we had a kid, partly because of the economics of the whole situation. And now I'm looking at my friends who had kids earlier on in life, and I'm thinking, man, they just have more time with their kids and the grandkids that are going to follow.
Yeah.
And so there's a cost to everything. And so if you're feeling some shame about, hey, I can't begin my life because I have to pay off the debt or I have to have this done first. I've got to buy the house before I can have the kids. Man, there are one, don't feel guilty about that. Two, there are so many great programs out there that will help first-time home buyers. There's grants, there's low down payments, there's creative financing. There is a way. You don't have to wait till you're 40. You don't have to wait. You don't have to put your life on pause.
And I would also argue that you don't have to have the same square footage as your coworker or your friend. You know, you don't have to have the same location, the same great neighborhood. You know, don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Just find something that you and your spouse and your soon-to-be children will be comfortable in for temporarily. Just jump in, start, like you said, live life. Don't always try to find the best, perfect, this is going to be our forever home.
Yeah.
It's jump in,
no
find
such
a fixer-upper.
No such thing as a forever home. If somebody's telling you they're buying a forever home, they don't understand what they're doing, because those forever homes, they end up being costly, and then you have to downsize, and then they end up downsizing. So it's not a forever home.
And wouldn't you also say that we live in a culture, a society that's always in their efforts to keep up with the Joneses and have a certain American lifestyle, that they're going deeper and deeper into debt? And so it's the car payment, it's the credit cards, it's now looking at a 50-year mortgage where we're just piling up, and they take the lead from our own government, right? We're trillions of dollars in debt. And so we just assume, hey, this is the way Americans live. We just going deeper and deeper into debt to the point where we don't really even own anything anymore.
Well,
we just owe the bank so much.
That's a stressful lifestyle. Some of the happiest people I meet with when they go to sell a house, right, are the people who have lived well below their means.
Yes.
And they don't drive fancy cars. They may not take extravagant vacations, but their stress level is just so low because they don't necessarily have to worry about making the extra money to keep up that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So anyways, don't mean to get preachy here, but home ownership, it is still well within reach. Sometimes you just got to recalibrate your priorities.
Right.
What's more important, a big house that you're going to have friends at occasionally,
right,
or maybe a smaller house filled with children,
right?
And so again, what's right is up to you, but there are so many different programs and so many different options out there. You don't have to wait till you're 40.
So then you've now been hired to advise President Trump on the economy and real estate, okay? What? No, you've been hired, okay? You've moved to Washington. You're living near the White House. You're meeting with President Trump on a regular basis, and you're advising him. And he says, hey, Johnny, I got an idea, okay? I see that we're struggling in the real estate market. What do you think about this 50-year mortgage to stretch out the payments? What do you think about that idea? And Johnny, you would say?
I would say it's not a good idea. The only person that really wins in that situation are the banks.
Okay, then what's your other
what
idea?
Would be my suggestion?
You can't just, if you're going to be in that position, you can't just say, nope, terrible idea, President. You're horrible.
Well, here's the thing. Here's
a better idea.
There's the better idea is often not the politically expedient idea.
That's tough. He's only got 3 years left.
He's only got 3 years. He's got to set up whoever's coming next. He's got congressmen and senators, and he's got people that he has to please,
right?
Because they have to get reelected,
right.
Even though he might be done, they have to get reelected,
right.
or they have to have buy-in. So there's that whole political thing. But if you remove politics from it, if he and I were just sitting down and having an honest conversation, the number one thing that needs to happen is you need to build more. You need to have more housing. The more, it's classic supply and demand. If there's more housing, then the prices will fall, and then that improves affordability. You don't need a 50-year mortgage. You don't need a 3% interest rate, right? You don't need to be making $500,000 a year. Wages don't necessarily have to go up so much. You just bring down the cost of homes by increasing the supply.
How does he do that?
So you can make it easier to build, like less regulations. You can incentivize the builders. You can unlock areas that you're not allowed to build at, right? You could maybe give cities or counties or states tax benefits in order to open up these lands or reduce the fees. Like, there are so many people out there who want to even just do some work on their house, but the cost of a permit on their house.
Yeah, it is. That is just ridiculous.
It's just a massive money grab. And imagine what it's like to build an entire development.
Right.
And so if you reduce those fees and make it easier to build, reduce the regulation, I'm not saying make it unsafe, but let's cut where we don't need. There's too much. There's just too much. A lot of what the U.S. had going for it historically was it was new land. It wasn't like Europe where you were building on top of everybody.
Right.
And that made it easy to grow and affordable to do that. And I think there's still a lot of ways that could happen to bring down the cost of housing.
In the greater Sacramento area in Northern California, where
Yeah.
would you like to see more development? Where do you see areas of potential growth that you drive by it and you say, hey, what if they built another development over there? Is there areas in Northern California that really need more development more than others, and you see where they could do that?
So when I think of what I'm seeing unfold up here, because Valerie and I have been up here since 2018, and even in that short period of time, we have seen traffic get noticeably worse. And people don't like that. People don't like spending time in their cars just to go to the grocery store.
65 is a disaster.
65
It's not
is a
even rush
disaster.
hour. It's not morning drive and afternoon drive. It's nonstop.
Yeah.
Sunday morning.
And so that would probably be the thing that I would do is figure out a way to connect the 65 to the 80 side.
So you're talking about more infrastructure.
More before you start piling on more houses, have the infrastructure. It's like have the infrastructure so it can breathe easily, and that would probably be my first thing would do the infrastructure, and then you.
Did you say connect 65 to what to 50?
Sorry, it's to 50. I said 80, but to 50.
Oh, connect
Yeah.
65 to 50.
I think that would help out a lot because now people could live in Rancho, and they could drive up here. People could live in Lincoln and work in Folsom, and I think that would really help.
Yeah, that's a decades project.
It got shut down, I think, in the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah.
But there's things like that in terms of that would help locally. Otherwise, it's just going to be more of a sprawl. So you either have to make it more efficient for people to get from A to B, right, where they are now, or it's just going to be a sprawl. And so I've heard talks about how Lincoln might someday be bigger than Roseville.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so we'll see how that plays out in the coming decades. But that's the number one thing is it's classic supply and demand. And I don't think playing with interest rates, playing with loan terms is going to override the economic fundamental of supply and demand.
Okay. So
anyways,
there you go, President Trump. If you're listening,
Yeah.
There's your advice. Johnny Jennings is willing to remote, right? Virtually,
Yeah.
to give you some better advice than a 50-year mortgage.
50-year mortgage. I think I haven't done a lot of look into the portable mortgages, but that sounds interesting. I know other countries
what's
do
that?
it. And that's where if you have a mortgage on your current house, and let's say you have the 3% interest rate, and you want to move it to your next house, you can then move it to another property.
Oh, wow.
So they're playing around with that. I don't know much about that, but what I will say for the whole Trump situation is at least they're trying to figure things out. They're tossing ideas out there. And then they do take action on things. Whereas before it's always like promises. We'll say we'll do something, and then the politician gets into office and nothing changes. You never hear from it.
So here's a question then: if they do roll out the 50-year mortgage, do you think that's obviously going to help realtors, right, and real estate teams short term?
Yeah.
Could it have any negative effects on the real estate market?
I think it would have the similar effect to what low interest rates had. So short term, you'd see an increase in people buying and selling houses. And then once that initial boom is done and the people who are open to a 50-year mortgage, that's saturated, then you're just going to see them sitting in place because they can't afford to sell.
Right.
And so I think you'll see a little bump, and then it'll be where we're at right now, where people don't want to sell their 2-3% interest, their house, because they have a 2 or 3% interest rate. And they can't, not only do they not want to give that up, but what they're really saying when they don't want to give it up is they can't afford to give it up. They can't afford.
Right. Sure.
They can't afford to trade in their $2,000 a month mortgage for a $4,500 a month mortgage.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, I also saw this, and I thought this was interesting, and I wanted to get your expertise on it. So they're saying that homeowners, no, where is it? Hold on. It's asking the question, off-MLS, which we've talked about a number of times throughout the past months. When a property is off the MLS, it's not listed on the MLS, those transactions cost sellers thousands.
Depends on who you talk to, but yeah.
So can you explain that a little bit better?
Off MLS, so it just means the realtor is not putting it in the MLS. And why the MLS is so important is it's part of the traditional realtor's three-prong approach to selling a house, right? We call it the 3 Ps. They put a sign in the yard, they put the home on the MLS, and then from there it goes out to the major real estate portals. And then the 3rd P is they pray that that house sells. And that's all that they're doing is the 3 Ps. So if you take one of those Ps away, all you're left with is really the sign, or at least that agent's word of mouth. And so what we do at Made for More is as soon as you agree to move forward with us, we start pre-marketing your house. And one of those things is an off-market option. So we have a black book of over 100 investors. We'll send your house out and see what kind of cash offers we can get. And then if you don't like any of those cash offers, then we move forward with the on the MLS version. But some people like the cash offers if they're going through a nasty divorce, if they need to relocate quickly for work, if the house will not qualify for financing,
Right.
if maybe something terrible happened, like a death happened in the home, and not to get gruesome or anything, but like a bad death, and they don't want that home necessarily on the open market. Sometimes it makes sense for somebody to take the off-market option. But what's happening is essentially Zillow is butting heads with Compass. Compass recently bought Anywhere, and I forget the entire portfolio of brands under Anywhere, but it's like Coldwell Banker, I think it's Century 21, it's Better Homes and Gardens, it's Sotheby's. Like Anywhere was the largest residential real estate company in the country, and now Compass has bought it. Compass was already large before it purchased it. So now Compass is trying to corner the market in terms of these off-market properties to shut the Zillows, the Realtor.coms out. And if you talk to Compass, they say, hey, our clients like it. Their houses sell for more money without the hassle by not going on the MLS. So they're saying it's a benefit, but then they also have a reason to say it's a benefit because they're the ones doing it. And then for Zillow, they're saying, hey, it is not a benefit. It costs people money. NAR is saying it's not a benefit. It costs the clients money. Where do I land on that?
Yeah.
I think ultimately it does cost the clients money. I don't see how you can sell a house to a fraction of the market, even if it's 50, 60% of the available market, and still achieves top dollar 100% of the time. I don't know how you can do that, whereas one of the things that we do with Made for More is our whole goal is to increase the exposure of your property.
Yeah.
Right. So we put it on the MLS. We run ads. We run ads on social media. We run ads on like digital ads, traditional ads. We call throughout your neighborhood. Like our goal is to expose that home to as many people as possible. And by having an off-market listing, at the end of the day, no matter how you slice that pie or how you crunch the numbers, that is not happening. So for most people, I don't think it's a good option.
Okay.
I think you're getting lied to by Compass.
So if they want more information on all that you had to say today and more, and find out how they can get a great one of those cash offers that you were just talking about, what should they do?
If you want a guaranteed offer, if you're curious what your home is worth, or if you want some access to some incredible programs if you're looking to buy a house, just go to madeformorerealty.com. You can look us up. We have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. That's madeformorerealty.com.